So, once again, a very good afternoon to our dear distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I was just chatting to our good friend, Mr. Alexander Wong, just outside here, and he says, I've got to push more for questions from all of you, and it doesn't even have to be questions, it can be stories that you share, or it could be some challenges or obstacles that you have faced, anything. Please join us here with the conversations and our discussions. And yes, he's encouraged me to ask Terry to put up his hand as well. So expecting something from you, Terry, a little bit on later on. All right, so back to the stage here. Once again, the final panel discussion of the day, and we're going to be focusing on development. And some similar questions to the previous panel, and we'll start with this one. The geopolitical environment, you name it. We've got this ongoing war in Ukraine, and then you also got the US-China ties, plenty of things to think about. It's full of uncertainty, there's a lot of tension, and there's ripple effects. What impact is that having on your market at home and on development? Where should we start? The gentleman closest. Please do take the... Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Saad Nazir and I am representing Bluebird City for Pakistan. It's a real estate project, the largest in Pakistan, and we are making an effort to make it the largest project in Asia, inshallah. It's a residential and commercial hub, and it's going to be an industrial hub as well. So, as far as your question is concerned, that the geopolitical situation, the war in Ukraine and the China-US ties, Pakistan is located at a very, very strategic position where we have Afghanistan on one side, Iran on the other side, and then we have India on the other side, and China is also there. So, being next to China, China wants us to join their league in making sure that China leads as a superpower. And India, on the other hand, has a lot of difficult relationship issues which it has with China as well as Pakistan related to our boundaries, and especially Kashmir issue, which Pakistan claims that it belongs to them since partition. So, considering the weak economic situation that US is facing these days and China wants to take the lead, Pakistan has no choice but to make friendship more stronger with China and depend on their closest partner to invest in the CPAC projects that Pakistan is initiating right now. So, considering the international situation, the real estate market is being affected negatively right now in Pakistan, but the developers are making an effort to come up with ways to attract international investment into Pakistan. Pakistan is facing tough times with regards to its currency, but yet again, the prices in Pakistan are the lowest in real estate throughout the world. So it's a very interesting market if you work out the return on investments.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, let's move on then. So that's Pakistan. Shall we move on to Mr. Qingjing?
Okay. I speak Chinese.
Oh, sure, please, yes. That works too.
Because 中国跟美国的这个经济战争啊，在短时间之内不可能停止，那么就造成这个台湾的特殊的这个看起来在区域紧张啊。事实上呢，这个区域紧张也正因为是台湾跟大陆是一个特殊的一个政治立场问题。那这个立场的问题呢，再加上西方呢长期以来认为 这个亚洲这些国家地区啊，都是被西方殖民的习惯，所以以至于他们认为这个大陆的崛起呢，这个暂时不会停止。那加上我刚才所说的两岸的特殊紧张的这特殊的政治的利害关系啊，就变成看起来是区域紧张，其实啊，这样的紧张正好符合了整个亚洲的经济发展的机会。我的感觉就是台商也好，外商都要利用台湾的产业链跟台湾的经济发展啊，来作为两路发展。利用两路发展，第一路是呢，不放弃大陆的生产力跟市场；第二路就是利用台湾的生产力跟延伸到东南亚的生产力啊，可以呢继续的这个发展西方的市场跟东南亚的市场。这个不但是符合整个亚洲的经济发展的未来机会，也正好是台湾在这个情况特殊的被利用价值的地位。那这个，所以呢，未来的这个有关土地开发、房地产呢，在台湾，在整个亚洲也是更好的机会。
谢谢。I understood nothing. I think that's the only word. Oh, I know why, me as well. But yeah, I understood nothing at all. So I'm going to have to rely on the interpreter there. Perhaps maybe just in a nutshell, please, just a gist of what he has just said.
So the ongoing U.S. and China economic tension has provided opportunities for Asia, in Mr. Chen's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
By leveraging Taiwan's special political and economic stance, he hoped that companies are able to adopt a dual approach, which on the one hand benefiting from China's productivity and economic market, but on the other hand extending the reach from Taiwan into the Southeast Asia and then establish connection to the industry in the Western countries, and moreover meeting the demands of their consumer markets. So he believed that using the Taiwan's high-tech advantage could help other companies, Western countries to come to Taiwan and establish becoming a reliable partner in international supply chain. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. So that's the scenario for China. Let's now move on to Dr. Singh. Are you reflecting on Thailand?
Well, I would say the geopolitics doesn't affect anyone. It does affect us, especially in the case that we have seen the rising cost of construction materials, energy costs. And NQDC also own hotels in the UK, like 17 hotels in the UK. So we do have that kind of a negative experience in terms of rising cost energy, the heating bills skyrocketing. So we will have to do this kind of contract price fixing. And what will happen if this geopolitics continues? But at the same time, we also experience that we have a lot more relationship with the domestic market, with Chinese companies. We do have a lot more investment from Chinese company in AI, in robotic, in IoT. So we see this kind of difficulty in geopolitics, but there are also opportunities happening in our industry, the real estate sector. So we see NQDC will move forward in this manner to create more collaboration, technology collaboration with new partners. Typically we partner a lot with the UK, the US, and European countries. Now we do a lot more within this region.
Great. So we're talking real estate, we're talking about development. We need to bring in that technology element. We need to bring in AI. We've heard about this throughout yesterday's panel discussion.
And sustainability.
Yes,
very important
is key. Correct, you are. Thank you very much. Let's move on now to Norman.
Hi.
Hi.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Norman. I'm a partner at HBA. And in case you don't know, we're design consultants specializing rather in hospitality design. So I'm pleased to be part of this panel. And I guess I'll be able to share thoughts on the agenda that we're discussing on our partnerships with developers on the projects that we do. Speaking of geopolitical factors, of course, Philippines is not exempt from that. Similar to what Dr. Sim said, the Philippines has been hugely impacted. The GDP growth is at 6.4% in the first quarter of this year. It's the lowest compared to the previous 7 quarters. That's mainly, or major factors of that is, of course, are those conflicts, political conflicts in the other countries, and of course the recent pandemic. And so that affected a lot, especially the construction industry. But however, there's another side to it because of those factors. The markets shift. So the focus of the developments, instead of course, hospitality was badly impacted by the pandemic. We suffered from that. A lot of developers suffered from that. So the trend that I noticed is the shift in the markets in providing, focusing on the residential sector, for example, instead of the ones that are dependent on tourism. And specifically for the Philippines, I think the economy survived because there is to a certain extent, despite all the political noise. I'm sure you know that the Philippines has got a very colorful politics, but the political stability to a certain extent is very important. So they're the ones that push for provide support to developers to continue with contributing to the economy, and I think that's been working so far.
Okay, and as you're in hospitality, have things bounced back now?
I can safely say yes. In this year especially, there's slowly bouncing back. Of course, after all the travel restrictions have been lifted, and I think the World Health Organization has declared that the
pandemic is no
globally it's not a threat. So I think there's a revenge building happening right now among developers, especially those hospitality projects that were shelved. But yes, it's
back on track.
Yeah, back on track. So
because I know here in Thailand, tourism is very, very important for us.
Yes,
I know it is in the Philippines as well. And you've got your beautiful islands, Cebu, Palawan, etc. as well.
That's right.
So very good to have you here on the panel. We'll move on now to Mr. Satoshi. And your point of view, please.
Okay, so maybe I will share from global perspective since this is a global company. Actually, we are closely monitoring several factors, of course, like GDP, what Mr. Norman mentioned, also consumer buying power, which directly linked to the basket product. Then cost side is the supply chain disruption, also material cost increasing, and then, of course, inflation, what we discussed this morning. So I would say overall, this fiscal year actually slightly better than last fiscal year. But I would say by region, for example, like EMENA, Europe, still facing some risk for the geopolitical environment. The Americas, as you know, the economy itself is slow down, so that's why I think consumer buying power is a bit slow. Then maybe China, I think we see some recovery, but not yet fully back. But I would say the 3 areas which we see strong demand. I think first one is at East Africa. The second one is at the Middle East. Then last one is at India and like later India, like Southern. So those 3 areas we see still very strong demand for not only retail side but also project side. So we see that many potential pipeline and many people started to get in those regions. So that is our observation.
Very interesting to know and exciting there. East Africa, you were saying, also the Middle East in the mix there. So maybe time to expand and look further afield. Thank you very much for that global overview. So that's the geopolitical environment and the tensions and the instability there and its impact. Let's now talk about climate change. We need to, because this is something that is, we call it a climate emergency, and it's something that I'm sure you're all very concerned about, and things like water security as well. Now, you don't all have to answer every question, as we do have a couple of questions here, and we're also going to take a couple of questions from the floor. Yeah? So, tell us, climate change, water security, in what respect does that impact your thinking and your decision making?
I'd like to
Thank you,
speak.
Dr. Singh.
Yeah, I think it's very important for us at QDC. I think it's one of the top priority for our development. We feel that if we do not address the issue of climate change, we will not have property to sell at the end of the day. If we do not address the issue of water scarcity, extreme heat, flood, all these issues happening more frequently than in the past. 40 years ago, we have natural disaster about 150 times a year around the globe. That's about one every 2 days. Do you know what happened in the record last year? We have about 800 natural disasters every year now. That means you have about 2 natural disasters of big scale per day. So with this kind of knowledge and this kind of happenings, we cannot just continue the normal practice. You build, you sell, you build, you rent. I don't think that's going to go for very much longer. I think we need to really be careful how we address future real estate development. At NQDC, we set a target. We want to go carbon negative, not just net zero carbon, but carbon negative within 30 years. And that is too late already. But with the technologies, with the network, with the requirements that we have today, it's difficult to go net zero. We cannot even produce our own electricity from natural or renewable resources.
Yes.
So you could go all the way back.
It is very alarming indeed, and I believe that according to the UN statistics, we're very behind those goals, sustainable goals that will be expiring in 2030. So you're very right, and I'm happy that you made this point that more has to be done, and it is concerted effort. We all need to consider this, not just to build, and sell.
You have to recognize we are the one who destroy the world, because we move mountains to build buildings. We cut trees to build homes. And if we don't take action, who will? I think the biggest action is our industry.
For the sake of the future generations.
Yes, and I've got kids as well, so I'm very, very concerned about the future, and I'm sure that everybody out there in the audience are with us with this one. All right, Mr. Satoshi, you have something to add, please.
Yeah, maybe I'll share from some business perspective how this kind of a climate change water security impacts us. So for us, when it comes to the Asia region, there are 2 types of market. The first market is like government is proactive to life this kind of sustainability initiatives like Singapore and Australia. And then other market is more not reactive to see how that goes on. For example, Singapore, I know some of the participants from Singapore. I think Singapore is always advanced, like especially hospitality segment, like hotel sustainability roadmap they announced. Like 60% hotel room have to attain the international recognized hotel sustainability certification or achieve net zero by 2050. So which require energy efficiency, water conservation, and waste reduction. Actually, I had some joke with one developer in Singapore because the government says some policy by 2013, all hotels in Singapore have to reduce water consumption 50%. So then we studied that actually one hotel room uses 60 to 700 liters water every day, but half come from shower. So if we want to achieve that target immediately, we ask customer not to take a shower. So that is the most efficient way, but of course shower is an important part. So actually we are working together how to minimize water usage to maximize the consumer benefit. So I would say this kind of government directions directly impact to our business. So as a leading technology company, we have to proactively to offer a solution rather than to reactively to response to that kind of initiatives. That's my impact of this.
Very, very important point there. Thank you to you for bringing this up. And this also reiterates what I've forgotten now. Another panelist also mentioned this, that governments need to be more firm, they need to take this seriously, and they need to enforce those policies. Norman, before I give it to you, I believe you wanted to add something?
As a real estate project in Pakistan, we are taking an initiative of making our project the model project, and we're adding more green structures to our development, and we are ensuring that 60% of our area goes to green area, so it helps improve the sustainability and the climate change. Overall, an initiative is being taken in Pakistan for planting trees all over the country. The previous government was taking it very seriously, so hope that Pakistan plays its role, inshallah.
Excellent, and hopefully that you said the previous government, hopefully the current government will also take on and translate these.
We change governments every 2 years, so probably.
Okay, let's leave that out. I don't want to go into Thai politics either. We'll leave politics out of it. Norman, sorry, we'll just get to you a minute. I think Mr. Sheeny wants to say something.
我们除了在这个马桶跟这些相关设备的用水要节省以外，由于我们的这个商办又是各楼层、高楼层种树，又有生态平原，所以呢，我们的用水算为了这个维持种树用水量比较大。所以我们超过政府的规定2倍以上，我们设了这个水柜专门来以水为收，来使我们的用水节省。这是我们作为商业办公大楼的一个用法。
Our project has continued to embody the spirit of planting trees in high-rise buildings, and then. Since then, we're going to plant a lot of trees, so there will be a lot of water that's going to be consumed, right? So our water reservation, water conservation is like twice as much of scale of what government has to require for us. So we have saved a lot of water in our new projects.
Excellent to hear. So water security is also something that we should really consider and place as priority. Norman, your turn.
Yeah, I just wanted to add what everybody's been saying here. I think I'm in agreement with everyone. Like what Dr. Singh said, it cannot be a quick fix solution. It needs to be long term. It needs to be fundamental. And what you mentioned, Pat, about the government. So the initiative has to come from the government because the UN, the United Nations, already gave the Sustainable Development Goals. And they're not just about specifically climate change, but it's the spirit of sustainability. It covers alleviation of poverty, equality, among others, right? So the government needs to take the initiative because the development can only be bound within the parameters that they dictate. So it needs to be a long-term solution.
Definitely agree with you on that one. Long-term, serious about the policies, and also everybody coming together.
Do we have any government sectors in here?
I'm not so sure actually.
We are saying they need to take action. Are they in here?
I'm not so sure. If you're here, please.
They may not even be here. I mean, talking about they need to take this and that, but I think being in Thailand, practicing in Thailand, we need to take action ourselves. We can't rely on, for example, like government will take this action or that action. It takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We in Thailand, we're not the slowest, but still very slow. And they would consider economic growth first, well-being of the people first. But for us, we need to consider both. And I see that the reason that we go deep dive into decarbonization because we don't, of course it's investment we need to make, but we can see this. If we want a company to last 100 years, spending 10 years for investing in new technology that can be made, commercialized in the next 80 years because we all need to decarbonize is a smart direction. So I think we need to discuss how we can manage, especially with big companies.
Yes.
Not to be around for like 5 or 10 years and go away. You're going to be like, 50 years, 60 years.
We've only
planning is important.
It truly is. Now, unfortunately, we only have 1 hour for our panel discussion, less than 1 hour, but it would be great to just brainstorm, not just with the gentleman here, but with everybody else here. I'm sure we heard some best practices from Pakistan, from China. We heard that, and we want to continue because we know what the problems are. We pretty much know what the direction is, but it would be great to share best practices and the way forward. Now, Dr. Singh, you mentioned, 800, 900 natural disasters per year?
Yes.
That is frightening.
That's frightening.
And yes, only the major big ones make it into the news, right? And then now it's concerted effort. Look what happened in Syria and Turkey, that earthquake, and we saw the whole world coming in and lending a helping hand, etc. But let's talk about these natural disasters, big and small, tropical cyclones. We've got it in Bangladesh, and we've got friends from Bangladesh and Myanmar, Thailand also. Pakistan has its fair share, yes? And that sends huge consequences. How can we mitigate this? And this is where I want to hear those best practices. This is where I want to hear your ideas as well, members in the audience. What can we do moving forward to mitigate all this? Please, Mr. Shi.
全世界的这个气候变迁已经向重力加速度越来越严重。那么2004年的南亚大海啸就是一个证明。3年前澳洲的大火，一次可以烧掉一个台湾，台湾是总共36000平方公里，它烧到5个大海。这是我们充分敏感的，在这一生从来没有在历史上听过，也没有经历过，所以我觉得气候变迁的不仅相当严重，对人类的伤害很大。所以我们在这个不管是住宅跟这个 office 我们都认为各楼层都应该种树，因为现在我们所有在全世界看到的建筑物跟马路，通通都是原来被砍掉的树，所以地球被破坏，它在起，所以我们建筑开发商，它本身呢，它的碳排，它在可以说占了将近40%碳排量。那我们觉得，我们要建立这个灾害原因的各行各业，让我们作为开发商，除了自己在高楼层各种树的吸碳氧化，吸碳虽然是一小步，但是其实碳氧化是一大步。这个吸碳一小步、碳氧化一大步来补足节能减量不足的，也是需要全世界一起来。我们在6年前曾经就呼吁大家一起来，全世界的工商界的开发商都应该一起来，而全世界的各地政府都应该鼓励买房子的人给他们奖励，而奖励并不是奖励给我们开发商，奖励了他们买的人落实在他们身上，让开发商加速度，按建筑师的设计的，能够都朝这个方面。朝这个方面的目的呢，就是使全世界的高楼都能够做出，以至于公共建筑、各种公铁路 两毛都要保持种植，这样来帮助地球增加这个吸碳的这个数目。那我想这是一个很重要的关键。那这些积沙成塔才可以使我们2050年的净零排碳能够解决，避免更多的灾难。纵然还是有灾难，它也是降低到这是，所以以我们这次参加这个来参加的这个建筑物我们就有非常多的这个吸碳非常多的节能非常超以力量回收这些等等的，都是我相信对我们未来非常有帮助的。
All right, thank you very much to the interpreter for reminding him to actually use the microphone, because I'm sure that there are some people who understand. I'm not even sure what dialect this is, but I'm sure some of the members of the audience will understand. But I don't. So please, wrap it up for me. I'm pleading.
I'll just wrap it up, and it's Mandarin. I'm speaking Mandarin.
Good to know, Mandarin.
Well, Mr. Xi believes that we can no longer remain active in the topic of extreme weather. Global warming is really important, really serious right now, and he hoped that he always wanted to say tree planting is the most important part of as a developer to plant trees in every floor. So that's why our projects, most of our projects have built trees in almost every floor. Yeah, and because of this, I think trees it's a small step, but it can help us to do carbon absorption and also help us to have a significant impact towards climate change. That trees can help us to absorb carbon dioxide.
Yes, that is correct, and I'm so very pleased that you're on board as well. With carbon-free, net zero, and offsetting carbon. Fantastic to hear. Thank you very much for your input. Yes, back to natural disasters mitigating. If I could ask Mr. Saad. Sorry, please take a sip first. Terrible me. Please, and then if you can respond. The question is, what can we do to mitigate natural disasters, as Pakistan has its fair share, no?
Yes. Climate change has its effects, and natural disasters come with climate change.
Is the government taking some...
Yes. The only thing we at Pakistan can do is ensure we need to build more dams, we need to plant more trees, and we need to take care of the additional water that we get from India during the rainy season, and we can do that only by building more dams throughout the country. And it's about time that the government has started taking it seriously, and they are now planning and executing these projects with the help of our Chinese friends. And we're doing it in good time, and hopefully we will be able to cover or work out the next upcoming floods and natural disasters.
All right, so water management is key as well there. The audience, do we have any best practices and good examples that you would like to